Y'all, I could swear people have been saying that, like, I've been glowing lately. Me? Ha.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Okay, I am starting to feel the effects of lifestyle creep. It is coming at me pretty hard. Just had our second kid. We are starting to look at houses. This apartment's big enough. We could probably make it work with two for a while. So we'll move out in like a year and a half, but it is starting to like stare me in the face. Even now, like I'm making some extra money on the side here, and it's just being used for babysitters. My wife's in a master's program, so we need a babysitter now that we have two kids to help her study, once or twice during the week. It's not to have fun. So any little avenue that I can find to make a little bit of money, it's just being used to help supply our lifestyle. Lifestyle creep can be a good thing though. It can cause you to work harder. It could set things in perspective, especially once you move in with a significant other and you start maybe just liking nicer stuff. You realize like, oh wait, this kind of is nice. A nicer set of chairs, a nicer vacation. You get a wedding, like it's good, but like then it comes at you once you start like having the kids.
Lifestyle creep is a really bad thing to fall into. If you have no idea what lifestyle creep is, it is when you start spending more because you make more. If you made $1,000 a month and spent $500, now if you're making $2,000, you're spending $1,000. That's lifestyle creep. If you are able to afford the lifestyle with the previous income, keep that lifestyle. Just because you make more doesn't mean you could spend more. It doesn't mean you can afford more. If you are barely surviving off the $2,000, you're going to be barely surviving off the $3,000 with lifestyle creep. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that extra money you made into savings or in a stock account and just forget about it. Well, step one is have an emergency fund. With that extra money, put it into an emergency fund. So if you're making $1,000 more now, put $1,000 a month into your emergency fund until you max it out. Your emergency fund is maxed out if you have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in it. After that, put everything else into stocks. Once your stocks start making you money, use that money you made from stocks for your expenses. Have your money work for you and use the money that you made from your money as your expense money. But that is how I avoid lifestyle creep. So if you have any questions, let me know.
You're finally making more money, but you're still broke. Why is that? I will tell you. It's called lifestyle creep, and I'm going to tell you how to avoid it and all of the pitfalls that come with it. So lifestyle creep, if you guys don't know, is basically like you're making more money and slowly your lifestyle, your cost of living slowly starts to creep up because you're making more money, you feel like you have more money, you want to buy more expensive things, all of that not so great stuff. And it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal when it's one little thing here or there, but most people that's not the case, and it's a slow accumulation. You're like, oh, I can really finally get that nice car that I want to get. I can move into a nicer apartment, even though the one I'm living in is perfectly fine. Very natural, but not great for our finances. So the first thing that we're going to do to be able to avoid this and make sure that we still have money and more money at that is however much we were saving, investing, if you have a set like percent of money that you're saving from every paycheck, if your salary goes up, keep the percent the same at the minimum. At a minimum, keep the percent the same. If not, increase the percent. I'm specifying percentage because obviously 10% of $100 is less than 10% of $1,000 and what have you. So if you keep the percent the same, the actual amount that you're saving is going to go up, which is what we want. Additionally, like I said, a lot of people start making more money and they want nicer things, even though the things that they have a lot of the times are perfectly fine. We don't need to be trying to be like keeping up with the Joneses, you guys. Like just because that girl over there has 5 Chanel bags and whatever it may be, and now you can finally afford some, that doesn't mean you need to go out and buy 6 and like outdo her. That's obviously a dramatic example, but in all seriousness, like keeping up with the Joneses is a very real thing. People start to get money and they want people to know that they have money from a visual standpoint rather than actually like being able to pocket the money, put the money in savings, and actually having money. So it's super important that like you don't get caught up in all of that. When you are getting pay increases like a salary bump, bonuses, and things of that nature, in my personal opinion, there should always be part of that is automatically contributed to your savings, your investments, whatever it may be. If you're getting a bonus, say your bonus is $5,000, that's additional income that you were fine living without before. You will be fine living without it now. I'm not saying you have to be so extreme as the whole $5,000 goes into savings / investments. If you want to do that, that's great. Like, you're killing it. But if not, even if you only put half or $3,000, whatever it may be, into savings and like in a safe place, that's great, because you're helping your future self by doing that. And at the end of the day, you still have some additional disposable income that you can use for fun things. So those are just some things that are super important and good ways to avoid lifestyle creep.
The number one thing that kept me broke in my early 20s and a poor money habit that I had was lifestyle inflation. Just because you're making a little bit more money and you start to increase your income does not mean that you need to spend all of it or spend as much that's coming in. It's okay to save some. It's okay to invest in yourself and experiences, but make sure that you are being careful about living below your means and not just increasing your spending just because you're making more money. That was the number one that was the money habit that kept me broke and kept me working in the rat race and paycheck to paycheck, just because I was making money and I was like, I'm making all this money, but I'm not seeing anything. But also I'm increasing my lifestyle and my expenses, and it's just not making sense.
But I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. Even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about. Lifestyle creep is definitely a thing, and especially when you are trying to make a brand for yourself, when you're aspiring to do something that you want to do. And content creation has been something that I've always wanted to do. Being a YouTuber has always been something I want to do. I've always just wanted to be on camera. I've always just wanted to make a name for myself, whether it be like through content creation, being a YouTuber, being an entrepreneur, like whatever it may be. I always felt like I was meant to do something other than nursing. And so I think for years I have been continuously like, going with the trends and like, buying whatever everyone else buys so that like I can post about it and like, be seen. But then I get caught up with imposter syndrome of not being enough. In order for me to become someone, I guess I was influenced by everyone else around me. So if I bought the next best thing, or if I like looked a certain way by buying these clothes, then I was gonna make an image, a brand for myself. And that turned into like so many like dumb purchases like along the way that I'm like literally paying for now. And don't get me wrong, I have been trying to get myself together when it comes to my finances, because obviously like I have money to pay my bills, I have money to like pay down the minimums on my credit cards, but a lot of the times I don't take into account like, money like for myself and money to just enjoy life. And most of the time like I'm struggling to even do that. So I think I've reached my breaking point. Enough is enough. Like living paycheck to paycheck, living with like the credit card debt and like the afterpays and everything, like I'm done. Like I'm so done. I want to be financially free. Like I don't want to have to worry about like if I'm gonna be able to eat. I just don't want to be in this cycle anymore, because it's like I want to travel. I want to buy a house. I want to get married. Like, all of these things, like, it's just like, it's not possible until I take this step of paying off my debt. And not just paying off my debt, but like being financially literate and just understanding you can't always have your wants. You have to prioritize like your needs. And sometimes like I rationalize like my needs, my wants, to make them seem like they're needs. And I just need to get out of this toxic like mindset. Like, it sucks. And I'm not making this an excuse, but I guess like impulsivity and like shopping addiction is part of ADHD. And sometimes I hate it. Like, sometimes I like get mad at myself for having this ADHD and is the reason why I'm in this situation. But at the same time, it's like I need to remember, what can I do now to just like get myself out of this hole. So the reason I'm crying on the internet is to show people that, like, seriously, like, do not, like, I understand that, you know, I'm trying to be an influencer, I'm trying to be a content creator, and that goes with like promoting products, but like literally live within your means and only buy like if you have the money for it. Stop klarning, stop affirming, stop afterpaying, like stop just swiping the credit card, because like, yeah, it may be fun like in the moment, but literally you will regret it if that stuff like just racks up and it's like years down the line and you're still paying for that purse that you bought like 4 years ago. Life is too freaking short for us to be paying money on stuff that we bought like a couple years ago. Life is too short for us to be paying for materialistic things. Instead, we should be paying for experiences, for like adventures and whatever it may be, like for new life like chapters. And I don't know, buying the next best thing is not worth your mental health. Buying the next best thing is not worth the emotional and financial burden that you're going to experience if you can't pay it off right away. If you're watching this and you're also in the same boat, like, you are not alone. This stuff is hard to navigate, and not a lot of people like talk about the realness about being in credit card debt or like even student loans. Like, I don't even want to think about like the student loans that I have and like my car loan. Like, that's another thing in itself. But if you're watching this all the way through, the one thing that I can say is that if you're going into 2025 with debt, specifically credit card debt, please make a plan to like get out of it, because I know I am, because I can't do it anymore. It's not cute anymore to just put it on the credit card or like I'll do some installment payments. It's not cute anymore. You're going to continue these habits, and it's going to take you so much longer to, one, pay for it, but two, unlearn those habits of impulse spending.
Lifestyle creep. As for me, I have increased my income by quite a lot, honestly, over the past, let's say, year or so. And the best way to overcome lifestyle creep is to save your money, pay down debt, invest your money, work on projects and things like that. That's the best way. If our money is not being put to use, we tend to spend it. If we just have money lying around anyhow, anywhere, it's not being put to use, we tend to spend all that money. That is the issue. A lot of people who have this lifestyle creep problem, they hardly save their money, they hardly pay down debt, they hardly invest. They want their rewards now. They hate delayed gratification. I know a person right now making over $120,000 per year. Every single year, this person makes it. And yet this person lives paycheck to paycheck. This person spends most of their money on their car. They had a chance to buy their car cash, but instead they wanted an expensive car and to just always buy stuff for their car to improve their car because it makes them happy. Even though their car payment is over $600. I think it's like $650 or something. Stuff like that. If you have a chance to get ahead in life, if you have a chance to pay off some more student loans, even though I increased my income, I'm still wearing the same shirts. I'm still wearing the same, like, I hardly bought stuff. I hardly buy stuff. I just reinvest and continue to grow like that. That is how I do it. That is how I urge each and every one of you guys to do it. And trust me, you will thank yourself. in 3 years, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, when you are making constant good choices while continuously increasing your income. Those two things right there will set you apart from 99% of the people. If you can manage to pull that off for even 2 or 3 years, you will be shocked at the amount of investments that you have, the amount of savings that you have every single year. But it takes long-term planning, and most people are not willing to do that, unfortunately. A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Today, I got drinks with my old boss, and he asked me, "Are you happy about your salary?" Referring to my new job, because I'm making about double what I was making 2 years ago. Um, and when I think about my lifestyle and how things changed, actually, not much has changed. I actually think I may have been happier 2 years ago with a lower income. And to preface, these incomes are like very livable wages in San Francisco. And so 2 years ago, I started at my startup job. I was feeling really good about myself. I was crushing the role. I was an individual contributor, so wasn't a manager yet. And I just had much less responsibility, and I felt like I could pay my bills, and I had extra to save and to travel and to buy things with. And now I make twice that, and my life still feels similar. Um, and if not, I feel like I have a lot more responsibility. I now feel a lot of responsibility for my parents and wanting to do nice things for them. And now I have mortgages and expenses, and I still live the same sort of lifestyle. Um, and I don't think it's changed in a significant way. Um, and I almost wish I could go back to 2 years ago when I was much more carefree and had less responsibility. So I guess all this is to say that once I achieved a level of income that allowed me to pay my bills and have extra left over, then even if I doubled it, it doesn't really significantly impact my happiness. And I think I get a lot of my happiness from other things. So it's relationships and family and pursuing hobbies and having time to develop intentionally myself. And yeah, I was just thinking about that today.
Let's talk about this comment because I'm in the same boat, and that is one of the main reasons why I stay away from the luxury content or the luxury lifestyle type of content on TikTok. Is because I grew up in a scarcity mindset. I grew up in a lack mindset. And because of that, now that I have money, I can be easily tempted to be just like those girlies at Louis and just as those girlies at Gucci and Chanel, because like I'm chasing this idea of like what my life should look like now that I have money, and I'm kind of like overcompensating for the lack that I had when I was younger, right? So in this stage of my life where I actually have money and I could actually afford to buy so many things for myself, like if I fall victim to the luxury lifestyle like mindset, I will go bankrupt. I will max out all my credit cards. I will drain my bank account because I am such in a lack mindset that I think that everything that I see, I should 100% get for myself. So this is not me trashing on the girls that do luxury lifestyle because maybe they don't suffer with the same issues that I am struggling with. But like as someone that's like trying to get over the scarcity mindset and trying to get over like the whole like I have to have everything that I see mindset, and a girl that has like a ton of shit in her closet that like still has tags on them because she didn't even like it so much, she just like saw it and she felt like she should have it because like she couldn't afford it when she was younger. A girl that's dealing with that should not be trying to be one of the luxury girlies. She should not. Know your lane. I know, like, obviously this is not about you at all. I'm just talking about me. Like, I know my lane, and like if I try to do luxury content, child, your girl will be on the street. Your girl will be on the street homeless. No.
This app just showed me a bunch of videos about lifestyle creep, which I'm fascinated by. In short, it's the idea that as you make more money in life, you also increase the size of your bills. You get a nicer apartment, it comes with more expensive utilities, you get a more expensive car, it comes with higher insurance. I was in my 20s when I noticed this happening. Like, the more I made, I didn't feel more financially comfortable. Now, a lot of that was because Seattle was blowing up at the time. That's where I'm from. And my rent had gone from like a few $100s a month to like a few thousand. So that's when I got really intentional financially. Back when I worked at video games, we had this thing called the minimum viable product, the MVP. It's basically like the most bare bones version of a thing you can have before you can start using it, testing it. I started applying that to my life. When it comes to my groceries, what's the minimum viable product? What is a meal plan that meets my nutritional and like allergy needs that's affordable? With a car, like what's the minimum amount of car that I need? This actually came up in my life recently. My boyfriend said he got me a nice bottle of tequila as a housewarming gift. And I was like, that's weird. Number one, I don't drink tequila. And number two, I don't drink nice bottles of anything. If I'm going to drink at all, it's going to be a bottle of Evan Williams, which is about $15. That has been my whiskey for my entire adult life. And I intentionally never got the nicer stuff because I don't want to get used to the nicer stuff. This makes it sound like I drink a lot more than I do. I think I've had the same bottle for the whole last year. Anyway, it's that kind of financial behavior that allowed me to make my life smaller, to work for myself instead of a corporation, to work a job that's flexible in hours instead of always being stuck in a 9 to 5, which, let's be real, was more like a 7 to 8. Anyway, it's just interesting to hear people put words to a concept I've been thinking about for a couple decades. Those are morning thoughts with Carla.
I moved into a place that I can't afford, and now I'm stuck.
This is literally what went through my mind the second time I ever had to pay rent. And she made such a great point. I like how she said, like, it's not that I can't pay for it. It's like, I can't afford this right now. And I was paying rent, and I was literally paying $2,000 a month to live in my little 700 square foot apartment in the heights of Houston. And after like 8 months or so, I started watching these financial podcasts, Caleb Hammer, Dave Ramsey, Ramit Sethi. And I was like, I need to, like, this takes up too much of my income. Like, this rent alone takes up too much of my income. And it's just like, what am I doing right now? It's like, it's not really worth it. And I still like made it happen for like 8-9 months, but I just recently turned into an Airbnb. I got up out of there. I'm currently in El Paso, stacking bread, saving money, just making like better financial decisions because there's just like you just have such a, like, you don't even realize it, but sometimes you're just living a life that's like above your means. Like, I was living a life that was above my means at that time. I was like, I could have a luxury apartment whenever I wanted to. Why did I choose that to be my very first apartment? Been there, and if you're someone that's gonna get like an apartment first, just make a better decision. Make a better decision, because I was literally getting so frustrated with myself month to month to month to month. It felt like every single month I was just working to be able to pay my rent. Nothing more, nothing less. And as she said, it's not the lifestyle I want to be living. I have other things. I'm young in turn. I want to be living, loving, laughing, having fun. Okay? So I'm so grateful that I was able to even recently just get up out of there and turn it into a property that can make some money for me. But I've been there, trust, 0 out of 10 experience.
Every time I see one of these, I make over 100K a year and I feel like I'm drowning videos, and I go to the comments, I want to rip my fucking hair out. It's always, well, you just need to know how to budget better. You need to live more frugally. Like, I could get by on that type of money. These people are obviously coming on here to bitch about a first world problem, a very relative problem, okay? They're not saying they're not grateful for the fact that they have a roof over their head, or that they know where their next meal is coming from, or the fact that they know that they do live comfortably. And if they move to the suburbs or fucking Kansas, of course, the 100K will take them really, really far, yet again, depending on what state you live in. The bitching is really about the system that we've been put through. I don't want to speak for everyone, just speaking for people like me who went to a 4-year college institution, was told to get the high-paying job, which the high-paying jobs usually tend to be in a big city like New York, Chicago, LA, which are very expensive cities. As a kid, I was told that if you make 6 figures, that was the pinnacle of everything, that you should be able to have a house and raise a family and do all these things and live super comfortably. A lot of us 20, 30-year-olds are here. We have the salary, but we're looking around going, where's the house? In this economy? No fucking way am I getting this house. And then the comments that are like, well, then find a cheaper place to live or buy a house that's cheaper. You don't have to get the nicest house, blah, 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 blah. I get that, but at the same time, if my job is in the city and I'm working these crazy hours and I'm exhausted, what's the point of doing all of this if I can't live a little comfortably, if I can't desire what I want to desire? And I have always said that the standard good parent, not all but most, are raising their kids with the idea that they want to give their kids better than what they have. I'm going to say this in a very materialistic way just to simplify the concept, but if you grew up in a family that drove Toyotas, your parents are going to hope that they're getting you far enough in life so that you can afford the next step up, the Mercedes, the BMW, all of that. And then some of you are going to comment, well, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should just get it. I totally get that, but my point is, there is nothing wrong with these people wanting to desire these nicer things. It's just the natural progression of things, especially depending on the peers that they're surrounding themselves with, right? And then more about the budgeting, because people are like, what are you guys spending this money on? 20, 30-year-olds are out here slaving away 9 to 5 in an office, some even more hours than that. The average cost of a drink is like $15 in these major cities. You should not be shocked that the little joy in life that these people are getting is going out with their friends or going on trips, because yet again, all of us going to college, we all are getting displaced all over the country in these major cities to get these jobs, right? Do not be shocked that we're spending money going out, because what's the point of making money if you can't enjoy a little bit of it, right? Anyway, the point of all of this is lifestyle creep definitely is a major part. But don't blame people for being shocked when they realize that 100K isn't gonna get you as far in these major cities as it did for our parents. And we were told that it would.
So I am a fresh law school grad turned brand new baby big law associate. And one of the things I'm currently implementing in my own life is what I am choosing to call controlled lifestyle creep. And basically what this means is that they warn you about lifestyle creep as a whole concept of like, oh, don't like fully adjust to this new income, so that if opportunities come along where you would be paid slightly less, you are trapped in a position based on your salary. And so don't like let it catch up to you. That's fair. I also worked really hard to get to the position that I am, and I would like to enjoy some of the benefits of that. So I sort of made myself a list while I was in law school of the things that specifically I was like, these are the life upgrades I'm going to make with a big law associate salary. So without further ado, here are the 4 things that I picked. One is my apartment. I have a 2-bedroom apartment to myself, and that is because I work remotely on Mondays and Fridays. I needed a dedicated office space. Like if I'm gonna be working evenings, 2 days a week here, and then also any extra time on the weekends as well, I need an office. Like I need a dedicated space for that. Also, apartment cleaners. There's nothing I hate more than cleaning my own apartment. And if I can outsource that once or twice a month to someone who will do a really, really good job of it, absolutely, absolutely worth the cost to me. And then on the beauty side, because that's kind of where I made my other 2 big life upgrades, one is extensions. I don't have them yet, obviously, but I have naturally really thin hair. I have worn clip-in extensions quite a bit because those are much cheaper. They are also terrible for my hair. So I am trying to not wear those as much, and I'm getting like keratin bond extensions installed later this month. So that's gonna be very exciting. And then finally, I got a membership to a facial spa, because I used to get facials like once every 3 months or so, but they're supposed to be better if you like get them regularly. And so I got like a membership to a place that does facials and all sorts of stuff like that, so that I have an incentive to go every month. And those were my like 4 specific choices as a brand new lawyer of like how I wanted to upgrade my life, and the rest of it I get to still live like I'm in law school, you know?
This is a good one. This is essentially lifestyle creep, and I've used that term several times. So the key to building wealth is when your money increases, your lifestyle staying the same, right? So if this year I'm making 60K, I'm going to live as if I'm making 50K. Next year, God willingly, I'm making 70K. I'm still going to live like I'm making 50. And that extra 20, I'm going to grow it and invest it and make wise decisions with that 20K. And that's what's going to make me wealthy. But no, girl, this is a good one. Because me too, whenever I get extra money, I'm like, oh, what can I buy? But then I have to like bring myself back down, be like, nah. We're going to invest this money. So good one.
For anyone who is pursuing content creation as a means of achieving financial freedom, I really need you to listen to this. As someone who doubled their income last year, I think the biggest mistake I could have made would have been if I changed my lifestyle based on the income I was bringing in from content. If you have made it to the point where you have seen a decent amount of success from content creation, first of all, I am so proud of you. And because I am so proud of you, I want you to make the most out of your success. I've been loving these Giorgio Armani cheap tints. 99% of everything I have brought in from content creation in the past 2 years has gone, guess where? To a savings account. Better yet, it's gone into a high yield savings account. Some of you are doing this full time. Some of you have another full-time job that is your main source of income. So especially if you are in that latter category, your life lifestyle should be based on that primary job, not what you're bringing in cumulatively with the content as well. Honestly, and that goes for any side hustle. I know it's tempting, a few thousand extra dollars come in and you're like, let me buy that bag. Let me book that flight. No, especially with the volatile state of these social media platforms right now. We don't know how long any of this is going to last. We don't know how long it's going to look like, what it looks like right now. Ideally, you should be viewing that as extra capital for you to save, for you to invest, for you to leverage into something that exists outside of social media. Something like a business, for example. I've also been loving these Makeup Forever Super Boost lip glosses. This is in the shade Daring Candy. Because I made the choices I made, not only was I able to just buy my first house, I also have a savings account that's accruing hundreds of dollars in interest every month without me having to lift a finger. Play the long game. Promise me?
What really pisses me off about people who talk about lifestyle creep is that I am not the one doing the creeping. Okay, the lifestyle is doing the one creeping. Let me explain. Every year, my goal is to always make more money than I did last year, whether that's increasing more side hustles or getting a new job. The idea is to make more money so that you can eventually have the stability to build wealth, right? And I have met that goal, but I'm still living the same lifestyle that I was living prior, or mostly. When people talk about lifestyle creep, they'll say, oh, I don't see why you can't just keep living like when you were a student. Like, why are you spending all of your extra income on these other new lifestyle changes? Skimping on costs has major long-term consequences. The $100 mattress I've been sleeping on for the past 3 years is probably messing up my back. And the monk mode is not emotionally sustainable. Nobody wants to live in survival mode forever. Meanwhile, it's costing me more money just to keep in place. It's crazy.
Okay, the big tech golden handcuffs lifestyle creep thing that has hit me most recently. Expensive oils. I just picked this one up from Whole Foods. I feel like I saw mixed opinions online, but I still wanted to try it. I think the mixed opinions came from the fact that it's a plastic bottle and apparently like the best oil's in a glass bottle. But either way, apparently it's very flavorful, so I'm gonna try this tonight. And then this I got at a market in the city a couple months ago, as you can tell. But this is really good. So in case you're looking for another random thing to spend the extra money on, oil. Bye.
The number one thing that people stress out about is money. Doesn't matter if you're making $500,000 a year or $50,000 a year. And the way that companies pay people these days and hand out promotions is just not in line with what people are actually worth and their needs. But a career is a marathon, not a sprint. And a mistake that I see a lot of people in their 20s and 30s making is lifestyle creep. Let's say you get a new job, you're really excited about your salary, maybe you got a 20% bump. That's most likely going to be your salary for the next 2 to 3 years. But your lifestyle might drastically change during that time. These are really formidable years, and you might decide in that time that you want to buy a car, you want to have kids, you want to buy a house. But a lot of that leads to debt and way more stress. So take it easy. Not everything has to happen at once.
If we want to attempt to break one bad financial habit in 2025, let it be the one of the lifestyle creep, because this bad habit is so powerful, it even keeps rich people living paycheck to paycheck. Lifestyle creep, or lifestyle inflation, occurs whenever our income goes up. Because what happens to a lot of people is as their income goes up, their expenses go up with it. You get a raise at work because you're doing an awesome job, which is like, we cheer for that. But then what happens is in our brain, we think, well, now that we got that raise, now we can finally afford to move into that bigger apartment. It can even be smaller things, like now we can actually afford to go out for dinner once a week. Well, if we're stuck in the cycle of constantly spending more money as our income increases, at the end of the month or at the end of the year, our bottom line actually always stays the same as it was in the previous year when we were simply making less money. And if this is the case, we will feel poor no matter how much money we got coming in each month, because we also never actually have more money. It even keeps 18% of employees who make over $100,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. And this is what's crazy, 36% of people who make $200,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. That means your level of income isn't actually a very reliable indicator of your overall financial health. This is also what the Journal of Consumer Psychology found, which is that the way more predictable and consistent indicator of a person's financial health and financial security is the amount of money they can save. And this is also our answer for, well, how do we break this bad habit? Well, it sounds so stupid to say, oh, you just need to save more money. That's probably the least sexy thing anyone could ever say to you. Here's a different way of saying it. We need to, when we get our paycheck every month, we need to pay ourselves first. Sounds really cool, right? It's like, hell yeah. But what we're actually doing is we're moving a certain percentage of our paycheck into a different savings account or a different account, some place where that money is safe and secure and where we are not just going to impulsively touch it when we need money to go out for dinner with our friends. So a certain amount of our paycheck, that can be anywhere between like 5, 10, 20%, like however much we can afford. And ideally we can just set up like an automatic transfer or like some sort of automation that moves that money to that secure place, because then the money that is left, that is what becomes our actual budget. So we're only using that money to cover our expenses for the month. Having like some sort of savings automation set up for us every month, we will also learn and visibly see that we can move towards financial freedom and financial security even when we're not making $100,000. Don't think that you need to wait to save money until you make enough money so that you can afford to save. That is not how that works, and that is not what the numbers show. People make a lot of money and they're still not saving any money. That doesn't mean anything.
Here are 4 things I do to avoid lifestyle creep, and number 4 is especially crucial. Lifestyle creep happens when your spending increases just because your income does. I see this a lot with my physician clients, going from living off $60,000 in residency to $250,000 afterwards. That's when the new car and the expensive house show up just because they can afford it. Here's how I avoid lifestyle creep and how you can too. First, I automate my savings increase. Every time I make more, I save and invest more before the money even hits my account. If I don't see it, I don't spend it. Second, I track my spending. Knowing exactly where my money goes helps me stay in control and avoid unnecessary increases. Third, I set lifestyle goals, not just income goals. I don't upgrade my life just because I can. I decide what kind of life I actually want. If I'm already comfortable, why add extra expenses? Fourth, I practice saying, that's not in my budget. When people around you start spending more, it's easy to feel pressure to keep up. But their path isn't yours, and a simple, that's not in my budget, keeps you focused. Lifestyle creep doesn't announce itself. It sneaks up on you when you stop paying attention. Stay focused on your goals, and don't let extra income turn into extra expenses. Hope this helps.
Your lifestyle creep is what's keeping you broke and from meeting your financial goals, and here's why. When you get a raise, are you thinking that's an extra night at the bars or being able to make life more convenient for yourself by getting a coffee at a coffee shop? That lifestyle creep, in the long run, is going to hurt you financially. My favorite way to combat this is using the 50-50 rule. That rule is being able to spend half and save half of my salary increases. That allows me to significantly increase my savings while also enjoying the successes of my career. And here's the other thing. Stop following influencers on TikTok. Not only are most of them exaggerating about how they live their lives, it's also making you think that's what success looks like. And just remember, as long as you're happy, it doesn't matter what you have.
So I've been a victim of lifestyle creep, and I know that the word victim sounds really extra and really harsh, but it is what it is, and I think it can be so dangerous and so damaging. Like if you're trying to be more financially like better, like financially healthier or whatever. So what it is say if you're on like a low wage and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and then you get an increase and like in your wage and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, that would be lifestyle creep. So it's like unintentional spending. It's spending more than you earn, or like earning more but spending more. So that's what I was doing. So I was getting like a yearly increase in my salary, but I was spending more. So really I should have been seeing more money left over at the end of the month than before I had my increase, but I wasn't seeing that. I just to realize and like try and make a change. When I say like it's unintentional spending as well, so say if you go like get this bigger wage and you're like, oh, I'm gonna eat healthier, I'm gonna go out and buy better ingredients and spend more money on better food, that's intentional, so that's kind of okay. Whereas unintentional is like things that you didn't need before all of a sudden become like a need, like you have to have them. It's also like if you don't have savings or don't have an emergency fund. So like I didn't have an emergency fund, and I knew how important it was as well. I mean, I have one now, but it's not great. But I think that if you don't have one of those, it could be that you're going through this like lifestyle creep. So I get a bonus every year, and I get a salary increase in the same month that I get my bonus. So like I said, I wasn't seeing more money at the end of the month, and I'd have these plans for my bonus, like I'm going to put it in my savings or my LISA, or I'm going to put it towards a holiday that we've been planning. But none of that would happen, and the money would be gone like a few months later, and I'd be like, wait, I've got nothing to show for that money. Like, where did it even go? And I think that's the thing, like I didn't know where my money was going. So there was no way to tell like where my expenses were increasing, and like my fixed expenses, they weren't increasing. So I started like doing this budgeting. This was like before Christmas 2023. So it's been about 18 months that I've been doing it. And honestly, it's helped so much. So I'd really like recommend like just keeping track of your spending. Like if you are going through this as well, look at your subscriptions. Like I had Amazon, Disney, Netflix, YouTube, Apple Music, and I didn't use YouTube, and I wasn't using Disney. So I was like, why do I even have these? Like I need to get rid of them, like cancel them. There's probably so many ways that you can like get out of it. So I'd love to hear like if anyone else has been in like the same position and what you did. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I've also got like a little bit of a plan. So I get my increase in June or July, and I also get my bonus. So I've already said like my bonus is being transferred into my savings like the day that it arrives, and then as soon as I find out what my increase means monthly, that amount of increase, it's not going to be loads, but whatever it is, I'm gonna set up a standing order to move into my savings account, so that way it's just not in my current account. I'm just gonna act like I didn't get that increase, because I know that my fixed expenses aren't going up anytime soon, so I don't need that. If you've got any more suggestions, or if anyone has done anything differently, I'd love to hear what you've done, but this is just how I'm doing it, or how I've done it.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.